Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
New at 6 o'clock, a judge makes a major ruling dropping a charge against some of the Wolverine Watchmen, but he also called the Wolverine Watchmen the AAA team for what he believes are major league, his words, terrorists.
As healthcare workers try to combat the surge in COVID cases, misinformation about the vaccine is spreading far and wide online. Coming up, what the state attorney general is asking tech giants to do now.
Okay, Grant, the pandemic is still going strong, but Governor Whitmer is well aware people want to see progress on her biggest campaign promise. The governor now focusing on roads again as she reveals new projects that will soon get underway.
And there is a new tool to help you track road projects in your community. It was 2 years ago today that Help Me Hank hit the roads with the governor as she pointed out projects she hoped to tackle. But then the pandemic hit.
So where do things stand now? Our consumer investigator Hank Winchester is live. And Hank, it sounds like there's a lot coming.
And Karen, Kimberly, absolutely. And it's hard to believe that was 2 years ago. It feels like a lifetime ago with all that has gone on recently. Obviously, the governor focused on the pandemic and a lot of money going towards that. But remember, there's that campaign promise to fix the damn roads. And tonight we have new information about how the governor plans to get it done. What happened to the roads? You may remember when now Governor Whitmer was running for office, it was all she talked about, fixing the roads here in Michigan.
I want to focus on the things that will actually make a difference in people's lives right now, like fixing the damn roads.
It was 2 years ago today when I hit the roads with Governor Whitmer, and she was pointing out the problems all over Metro Detroit that needed to be fixed right away.
Heard story after story after story from people who can't afford to keep fixing their cars.
Some progress was being made, but then the pandemic, and it seemed like everything just stalled. Well, now some new information from the governor's office and from MDOT. In fact, the governor just announcing the first 21 state highway projects that will get underway very soon. These projects include rebuilding entire roadways like I-94, I-75, Gratiot Avenue, and fixing dozens of different bridges throughout the state of Michigan. But the governor knows she needs more money, and that was her message in Washington recently.
Now, the pandemic has had a devastating impact on our transportation revenues, and we desperately need federal assistance.
And the governor recently launched a new dashboard in collaboration with the Michigan Department of Transportation. This will allow you to track road construction projects in your own community, offer input about what projects you think need to be tackled, and track those that are currently underway. Back out here live, we do have a statement from Governor Whitmer. It reads, the Rebuilding Michigan plan allows us to continue fixing the roads this construction season without an increase at the gas pump. As we get into the spring and summer, you will see more work going on as we move quickly to make up for decades of underinvestment in infrastructure. We need to keep our foot on the gas when it comes to investing in our state's infrastructure and creating good-paying jobs. As for that new dashboard, that tool to track construction in your neighborhood, we put a link for you on the Help Me Hank page at clickondetroit.com. We're live here tonight. Hank Winchester, back to you.
Sounds like here come those orange barrels. Hank, we appreciate it.
All right, moving now to the coronavirus. As the city of Detroit expands vaccine eligibility and the state continues to see high case numbers, any Detroit resident age 16 and older is now eligible to get the vaccine at the TCF Center. Meijer will offer the vaccine at all of its stores in Michigan and across the Midwest this week, which it says will allow it to administer more than 150,000 doses this week. Now, we do have information about how to register on our website, clickondetroit.com. Meantime, Lawrence Tech is moving classes online, and the Detroit Institute of Arts will be closed because of the state's high case numbers. The state reports 8,202 new cases and 8 additional deaths over the past 2 days. The numbers continue a trend that concerns the state's chief medical executive, Dr. Janae Caldoun.
We're seeing more and more people coming in with symptoms. We're testing them and they're testing positive. And I think it's also important to note that it's not only the elderly who can get very sick. There are young people, and particularly younger people who may have underlying medical conditions, who are still getting sick from this terrible virus, and some of them need to be hospitalized. So it's really important that we all continue to remain vigilant in fighting this virus back.
Meantime, the state reports it has administered more than 4 million vaccine doses. Right now, nearly 1 in 3 Michiganders has received 1 or more doses of that vaccine.
3 men will stand trial for their part in an alleged plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Joseph Morrison of Munith, Paul Beller of Milford, and Pete Musico of Munith each appeared before a judge who decided to drop one of the charges against them. But several charges still stand, and Local 4 defender Sean Lay joins us live with more on that part of the story. Sean.
Kimberly, good evening to you. Big charge that was dropped by the judge today, a 20-year felony of terroristic threatening. That was dropped, but felony gun charges went forward, also providing support to who the judge clearly called domestic terrorists.
If the Capitol insurrection that occurred in January is any indication, Judge, you don't have to be organized. You just have to be filled with rage and lack impulse control.
A prosecutor with the state attorney general's office making the case that 3 members of the Wolverine Watchman, Pete Musico, son-in-law Joseph Morrison, and Paul Bellar, talked about political violence against Governor Whitmer and even trained for it. It's the training that caught the judge's attention.
In a snapshot of time, in 6 months, these folks saw each other a whole lot more than I've seen many of my relatives in my 65 years.
However, Jackson County Judge Michael Kalarin ruled against the state that talking about political violence to each other within the group and not talking about it publicly where people would feel threatened is protected free speech. He dropped the charge of terroristic threatening. The judge, however, said that the 3 were deeply involved with others that he believes were ready to act. Adam Fox and Barry Croft, both facing federal charges. He says the Wolverine Watchman provided them with terroristic support.
Here's the Wolverine Watchman, to use a baseball analogy, was the AAA ball club for the Major League team. Going to Gretchen Whitmer's house and seizing her had a probable likelihood of resulting in injury or death to Governor Whitmer, or in the alternative, the commission of other violent crimes.
Back here live, the judge making it clear now he is sending these guys to face a trial, all 3, and in dropping the terroristic threatening charge, he said they were talking amongst themselves, so if no one else heard it or was threatened, he doesn't see there's a victim in the case. The AG's office has something to say about that. They may try to go to reinstate that charge. They didn't say how or when. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Back to you.
All right, Sean, thank you.
Well, police are investigating a shooting on I-94 in Detroit. This happened on eastbound I-94 at I-75. State police say this was a road rage shooting where a driver pulled off the freeway and then shot at a tow truck driver. A shot hit the tow truck, but the driver wasn't hurt. State police have not yet released information about a suspect.
Today marked the start of what's expected to be a tense and emotional murder trial. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is charged with second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in the death of George Floyd. For prosecutors, the case is about 9 minutes and 29 seconds. That's the time they say Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck. They say it was unnecessary, and they are asking the jurors to watch the video and believe their eyes.
You will see that he does not let up and that he does not get up. Even when Mr. Floyd does not even have a pulse, it continues on. Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed this badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
On the other hand, the defense is saying it's about a lot more than 9 minutes and 29 seconds. They want the jurors to consider things that happened before George Floyd was on the ground and after.
The use of force is not attractive, but it is a necessary component of policing.
The trial is expected to last 3 to 4 weeks. Be sure to stay tuned to Local 4 for a closer look at the trial ahead at 6:30 on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
We do have an update on a deadly hit-and-run crash that killed a 107-year-old woman in Allen Park. The driver of the other car is now charged. 19-year-old Timothy Behringer went before a judge on the charge of failure to stop at the scene of an accident causing death. He was given a 10% of $500,000 bond. The crash happened at Goddard and Reek in Allen Park last week. Police tell us they identified and arrested Behringer after someone took a picture of him before he ran away from the scene.
Disinformation is one of the biggest challenges in getting people vaccinated so we can get things back to normal as soon as possible. Falsehoods about the vaccines are especially prevalent on social media. Grant Herms is live with a look at how Michigan is joining several other states pushing back against those harmful myths. Grant, good evening.
Well, good evening. Vaccine disinformation has run rampant since the start of the vaccine rollout, especially online. Just 12 accounts, at least according to one study, are responsible for up to 2/3 of all of those lies you see on social media, reaching about 60 million people. Well, in a letter with other attorneys general, Dana Nessel is now saying enough is enough.
The letter, signed by 12 attorneys general, including Michigan AG Dana Nessel, calls on Facebook and Twitter to start cracking down on accounts, similar to the way the platforms did after disinformation about the 2020 election surfaced, saying Facebook has, quote, not taken sufficient action to identify violations and enforce these guidelines by removing and labeling misinformation and banning repeat offenders. The call to end misinformation comes as an alarming number of Michiganders say they will not be getting the vaccine. According to a recent poll, nearly 1 in 4 adults in Michigan say they'll forgo the vaccine. And the state also has a new partisan challenge, with 47% of state Republicans saying they will not get vaccinated either.
Over a decade ago, the journey to a COVID vaccine began.
The state has started new campaigns to help educate those with doubts or concerns about the vaccine. The ads already being run online. Today, Dr. Janae Caldoon explaining the impact of misinformation on the vaccine rollout.
I think it's something that's been a challenge throughout this entire pandemic. But again, that's just something we as public health experts and leaders have to really focus on and make sure that we are working with communities, making sure we're not shaming people for having questions about the vaccines, making sure we're getting the right information out into the community.
Now, right now, there isn't a specific place you can go to report any vaccine misinformation or disinformation to the Attorney General's office. We did try to reach her about that today, but did not get a comment back. We do, however, have all of the answers to your vaccine questions before you turn to social media up on clickondetroit.com right now. Back to you.
Very important. Okay, Grant, thank you.
Well, a nice sunny day outside, and it's about to get even warmer. Ben.
Yeah, guys, typical finish to what we would normally see this time of year. Not so much tomorrow, and definitely not for the end of the week, but for two different reasons. We'll look at that next.
Okay, Ben, and up next, the recall that has safety experts telling owners of some cars not to park them in garages or near the house. That's next.